Hello.
Oh, hello there.
Hello, podcast. Today is Wednesday, September 23rd, 2020. This is another remote version, marooned, if you will, of the Media podcast, as it is September, month 6, month 7 almost, of this wonderful quarantine that we are in the year 2020. So thank you for joining us. If you don't know what the Media podcast is, well, I mean, this is the 246th episode. You should know by now. But if you don't, we are a podcast that brings you news and thoughts about the newest movies, television, video games, and music, not necessarily in that order. Notice that I'm trying to do this intro snappy so you can't interrupt it.
I've noticed. I'm trying to find an in, like double dutch, to jump in here, and you are just spinning away.
You need to get it done. That's the whole thing about an intro. If you interrupt it, it doesn't make any sense.
Oh, we can't even have a tangent then. But thank you for introducing me for a tangent.
Well, we'll get to
Mike. His name's Matt. We are Media Podcast.
Tangents
there.
Tangents are for later. We have plenty of those.
Well, yeah, we're definitely going to have those as we have Emmy breakdown and awards to discuss.
Yes, it was quite a week this week. We have video game stuff to talk about. We have TV stuff to talk about, including the Emmys. Not a whole lot of movie stuff, but hey, everything else, there's something interesting going on. So let's get right into it by starting with the least interesting subject, movies.
Hey, let's just start this and get this out of the way, shall we?
Let us. Why don't we? So we usually start with the box office. Here's kind of a box office for you. The numbers crept up just a tad bit, enough for us, I guess, to talk about them because they're on a list this week. Well, unless this is from 2 weeks ago?
No, this is this past weekend.
Okay, just making sure.
They're just that low.
So yeah, Tenet is still your number one movie in the world, or no? Well, actually, maybe.
In the U.S. Probably the world
US,
still.
Our numbers, but maybe. With $4.7 million. That's sitting at $36 million. Do you think...
I want to put a huge pin on this because we're going to come right back to it. Yeah. On Tenet making $36 million in the U.S., but that $36 million is split between the theaters and Warner Brothers.
Right.
That doesn't get all $36 million. I want to keep that pinned right there because we're going to come right back to it in about 2 minutes here.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, we've talked about it before on this podcast, right? If you don't make at least your budget, you're dead in the water. Mm-hmm. And then if you don't at least make twice your budget, you're still losing money on that movie.
Right. That's not a profitable film.
So no matter what, this thing is not going to be profitable until they release it for home release. Just period.
So that means that this film has been put out for Oscar nominations then.
Correct. That has to be why they did it. Well, and to appease Christopher Nolan, who was being a brat about it.
Right. That'd be the only other thing, is that it's in his contract that says you must release it this calendar year.
Yeah.
Otherwise, heavy financial fines, most likely.
There's other movies on this list, though. Number 2, New Mutants, $1.8 million, adding to its measly $17.7 million domestic.
It's about what it was going to make in total originally.
Yeah, probably no different. Number 3, Infidel. I don't know what that is.
It's a new release, but it made top 3.
$1.3 million. Number 4, Unhinged, which is kind of like this podcast. $1.2 million for that. That's at $15.6 million. I guess that was a previous release.
Yes.
And lastly, number 5, if it really even counts, The Broken Hearts Gallery with $800,000, not even cracking $1 million there. $2 million domestic total for that thing.
So got a little bump then somewhere.
Dark times for movie theaters.
But still, no new movies will be coming out in a wide release, at least for maybe 2 weeks, possibly longer.
Yeah, we might have a couple next week, but this week, nothing. No new releases, which ties directly into our first story this week.
So, as I just mentioned 2 minutes ago, Tenet, box office, $36 million domestically. What it would have gone up against, Mulan.
Yeah, so speaking of movies that did not come out in theaters, Mulan. Disney's Mulan, of course, planned for theaters originally, moved to a premium Disney Plus model because Disney needed a way to recoup some of the costs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, was this a good idea? Some people want to know. Inquiring minds want to know, including the inquiring minds of the analytics research firm 7Park Data. They found that more than 25% of US households that subscribe to Disney Plus paid that $30 price tag to purchase Mulan during its first week. Currently, there are around 30 million US Disney Plus subscribers. So if that reported 29% of users really did pay that money to watch Mulan, that translates to a $260 million or more opening frame, which is obviously $200 million more than Tenet could even dream of.
Right. But heavy to note here that $260 million is not split with movie theaters. That is money going directly to Disney.
So yeah, Disney probably won't reveal official numbers. That's important to note here.
They'll only do it during a stockholder meeting, but
Right.
that probably won't be until end of the quarter.
It'll be a while. So this is just the data that 7Park Data has dug up for us. Disney doesn't have to share that revenue, as you mentioned, with theatrical exhibitors. So yeah, the gross revenue that they're taking in probably far exceeds, is probably better than a traditional theatrical release would have been for them. So?
Yes, but it's still not breaking even yet, at least according to that, because this is a probably $250 million budgeted film.
Yeah.
And first weekend they made $260 back.
But you have to keep in mind that this is not done. This is going to continue as long as this premium model is set up. There's going to be more and more homes that are purchasing it for $30.
Correct. This is just first week initial purchases.
So if you start with 260, you're only going to go up from there. So
if you start with 260 on a movie that you probably spent 250 marketing, your first weekend broke even, let's just say.
Yeah.
So what the actual numbers you want to look at is second weekend, third weekend, fourth weekend, wherever we're at.
So yeah.
So you want to see how many people either told other people to go buy it, how many other people increased from that 29% household.
So we should mention in the story, you don't have it written down, but something that happened today, some late breaking news, was that Disney has made the official call to not release.
I have all that under my Marvel breakdown as part of TV.
Oh, it's in TV. Well,
yeah, I put movie bits in TV.
It segues
Marvel.
Yes, but it segues into here. We might as well mention at least that movie here. Yes. So Disney's next big tentpole was going to be Black Widow. Rumors were kind of circulating about, depending on how Mulan did, they were maybe considering doing the same kind of premium release for that movie. Does not look like the case anymore. Even though Mulan seems to be successful in this model, they've instead chose to completely delay Black Widow until a 2021 release.
Now, I've seen different speculations on this as to, well, this shows that Mulan was a failure for premium on demand, right? That's why they're pushing Black Widow.
These numbers don't scream failure to me, though.
Yeah, they don't scream failure to me. Two, they're from a different studio, mind you. This is Disney proper putting out Mulan, not Marvel in conjunction through Disney. Yeah. So I want to say this is Marvel pulling the strings on pushing it back in order to separate it as part of MCU and Disney Plus MCU.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, if you're Kevin Feige and you want to promote the exclusive series, say WandaVision, which just got its big trailer reveal,
which we'll get to.
If you want to promote that, you probably don't want then immediately after WandaVision premieres to also be like, oh, and also Black Widow is coming to the service, pay $30. No, because you're right. If you're Kevin Feige, you want to separate those worlds and be like, this is the home for our television content and where the movie come later. So it doesn't fit into your grand vision to do a premium Disney Plus release, even though Disney is probably looking at the Mulan money and probably being, man, I wish we could have convinced them because we'd have the money now.
Oh, I'm sure Disney tried to convince Kevin Feige to say, hey, here, look at all this money we made from just Mulan, a film that was already in trouble.
Right.
And still made 260 first weekend.
And that's the key.
What positive?
This quarter, that's the key. Before March, you could have that money now.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just, nope.
Yeah, but because Kevin Feige and let's say Master Plan,
Yeah, whoever.
all right, Master Plan here,
Yes.
in tinfoil hat MCU here.
Yes.
The Master Plan is to keep Disney Plus series separate from Marvel movies proper, so that way you have two different streams of revenue. You don't want to cross brand so quickly and quickly dilute said brand.
So yeah, there's reasons. Whatever the actual reason is, them's the facts. It looks like Mulan.
We'll get the reason in a book 5 years from now.
Exact. No, 10, maybe.
How long does the NDA last?
Yeah, who knows? Depends, right? So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it's interesting to see though, as we kind of go further into this quarantine, what models work, what models don't, and what kind of movies do not want to play by the rules of those models. So it's going to be a continued experiment.
Those sexy, sexy models.
Those sexy models. All right.
Stupid, sexy models.
Let's move on to something not so sexy, which is continued monopolization of the media press.
Yeah, so this was almost going to be swept under the rug here. But I caught it and I saw it and I said, hey, this in any normal year, this would consider to be a big news story.
Yeah. So I think I agree with you because this is kind of crazy. Penske Media. I don't know if you've heard of it. I certainly haven't necessarily heard of it directly.
Have you heard of Penske via the oil and the cars?
This is unrelated, I'm guessing.
No. Same family.
What?
Yes.
Oh, no. Well, that's disturbing. Anyway, Jay Penske, hence the name Penske.
He is the son of the automotive baron, tycoon, however you want to call him.
Sure, let's say tycoon. That seems fitting. So in a family of tycoons, Jay Penske himself could be easily viewed as a tycoon himself because he now oversees all three top Hollywood trades. So that's Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, and Deadline.
Funny, that's where I get all my news from.
You know, he also has the top music publications, Rolling Stone, Billboard, and Vibe.
Huh, that's where we also get some music stories from.
Yeah, weird, huh?
Yeah.
So Penske already owned both Variety and Deadline, and Rolling Stone and IndieWire, through his existing company, Penske Media Corporation. A joint venture, though, with MRC announced Wednesday brings The Hollywood Reporter, Billboard, and Vibe into that company. So
Umbrella.
the new venture will be called PMRC. What do you know? What a concept.
It's like, let's just slap it together.
Yeah, which one? MRC's titles include Ozark, the television show on Netflix, I'm guessing?
Yes, this is their media.
Yeah. The Great, which I'm not sure where that airs.
That's Catherine the Great on Hulu.
Okay, Hulu. The Outsider.
On Stars.
Stars, okay. The entity known as the Golden Globes.
On CBS.
Yeah. The Billboard Music Awards. The American
MTV.
Music Awards.
On ABC.
And films including Knives Out, Ted, and Baby Driver. I knew I had seen that MRC logo before.
Yes, you've definitely seen it in front of some great hit films.
So financial terms for this deal were not disclosed, but the company said no leadership changes are planned and that both will continue to operate independently. They won't move in together like The Odd Couple. But the venture did raise immediate questions about journalistic independence, as you might imagine. The new venture means that Sharon Waxman's The Wrap is the last independent major Hollywood trade that's not controlled by Penske. She has publicly fought with Penske, in fact, in the past over Variety's hiring of The Wrap staffers and The Wrap's reporting on Variety. In June, she published an angry letter from him criticizing her reporting. So at least we know there's one last bastion of independent film journalism happening. But man, this sucks.
Right. Now, this isn't to say that there's still independent blogs out there like Red Letter Media, Film School Rejects, Pop Gum, or Stereo Gum.
Yeah, no, they exist, but but the scale is so different.
Oh no,
Like,
yes.
what I want, here's a little game you can try at home to see how different the scale is. If you go to an independent music site like Stereogum, although they didn't used to be independent, actually, MRC owned them too until fairly recently. They were under the Billboard umbrella until they spun off in January. But if you compare a story on that site and look at the comment section there, and then go to yesterday's Rolling Stones 500 greatest albums of all time update that they did, and look at those comments, hundreds more names are on there, and they're saying some real gross stuff. So yeah, it's a big difference in readership that you're going to get from these smaller film blogs and the big ones that are owned by this.
It's not just that. You're talking about exclusives being talked about too, because you'll see Hollywood, like Deadline breaking, Variety breaking story, Billboard breaking story. You'll see these breaking stories because they'll get the exclusive stories.
Yes.
Now, if that's all under one giant company umbrella, that exclusive can be shared, basically dominating the Google search engine.
So I guess our message to our listener, and we really don't need to tell our listener this because they're probably already this person, but seek out independent voices. Seek out people that are like us, that deliver this news to you in a way that's not handed to them with a bag full of money, presumably.
Follow people,
not making any
follow reporters directly on Twitter to get breaking news.
But yeah, just beware of when things are compacted like this under one roof too much, because then you're going to get potential bias. You're going to get, or more so than you already get, potential, influence, potential corruption, etc.
Well, I'm more worried about like PR nightmares being swept under the rug, stories being killed from this type of conglomerate.
It's what you don't hear. It's just like jazz. It's the stories that don't run. Anyway. Anything else with film? Did you watch any movies this week?
I did not watch any movies this week, but I tried.
Yes, but you will have a movie next week, so that's exciting.
Yes. No, that was pre-podcast. As I was talking to you pre-podcast, right before I pressed record, I will be seeing Tenet this weekend. Right. Theater. I will not be going to an actual theater. Yes. So I will not have the IMAX experience that I so wanted.
You'll be fine.
But I'll still be fine. I will be safe inside a car, inside a drive-thru, watching Tenet, and I'll have my thoughts on it next week.
Yep. Looking forward to hearing about that. For now, let's roll right into television. Let's keep this smooth show a-rolling.
Yep.
And we always start the television section with the sports corner. And some sports happened this week. There is, count it, 1 week left.
There's one left week.
Right, 1 left week of regular season baseball.
5 games, roughly, depending on who your team is. They are all scheduled to end next week, roughly. The 29th, I think, is supposed to be the last day. So by the time we podcast next week, we will have definitively who's made the playoffs.
Right. So we will know very, very soon. Needless to say, I won't be watching because my team's doesn't have a chance in hell.
You would think that, but the Angels technically do have a chance in hell.
What?
Yes. By running the numbers, they just have to beat they play the Dodgers this weekend, who've already clinched their playoff spot.
Right.
Which means they can rest their players. Now, they have to have a better record than the Houston Asterix or the Buffalo Blue Jays.
Okay.
Currently, they have the same record. But if we get above one of those teams, we will have the last – is it one or both? It might be both of those teams. But no, just one of those teams. If we get above Houston, we will for sure have a playoff spot.
Wow, that's okay. Well,
it'll be a sub 500 record, but it will still be a playoff spot, and they won today, so they did their job. They just have to win out.
That's bananas. That's bananas. That's what that is. I guess we'll find out.
Like I said, next week we will have a concrete picture. Like, it's literally set in stone by this time next week.
Good to know.
For MLB playoff postseason, because it's October baseball. It's already October.
It's already happening.
I'm sorry, I can't say that. Next week will already be
next
October.
Week it will be October.
Yeah. Well, no, next Thursday.
But what October also means, or at least the impending future of there being October, means that the end of hockey is coming up as well. The Stanley Cup Finals have been decided. The Stars and the Lightning are your two teams.
Yep. Dallas Stars, which we had already reported on, play the Tampa Bay Lightning, who won like 2 days later.
Yep. So
last Friday. So
exciting time.
That's your Stanley Cup. Go Lightning, I think. I think they have the hot hand right now. Anything but the Stars.
Sorry, I had a hot hand.
Yep.
So that's exciting for people who follow those teams. Get ready. It's gonna be some fun hockey. Next up, I'm not sure who you're referring to here, but someone with the last name Jordan.
Yes, that Jordan.
Like Michael Jordan?
Yes, that Jordan.
Okay.
Not Michael B. Jordan. Michael A. Jordan.
Michael A. Jordan.
Michael Air Jordan.
The last dancer himself.
Yes.
The final dancer. He is partnering with Denny Hamlin to join NASCAR next year with Bubba Wallace as their driver. So he will not be driving a car. I want to make that clear. But he will join the team, I guess, is what you're saying,
yes.
For Bubba Wallace's car.
Yes. Assumed he'll be driving the number 23 car.
I mean, that would make sense.
Yes. They have named Bubba Wallace as their driver already. He brings with him a ton of sponsorship. And I think they're under the Penske umbrella. Is that right? Oh, no, I should ask Ty about that.
Who can say?
But speaking of Penske.
Yes, speaking of Penske. Penske is all over this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I already know the image now on the website. I'm just going to put the Penske logo. But yeah, that's exciting for NASCAR fans. So
Michael Jordan made it personal.
Hype in there. Yeah, and then it made it personal. Exactly.
Yep.
All right.
Someone
the NFL, meanwhile, football remains happening.
Oh, does it? We have a lot to talk about football here.
And they've already gotten to fining people for not wearing masks. We knew this was going to happen, but it's already happened. 3 head coaches have been fined $100,000 each for not wearing masks on Sunday, and each of their teams under their $250,000. So that's $1.05 million in fines for not wearing masks.
Yeah, that's just for 1 week. This past Monday, they decided to fine those 2 coaches as well, as neither head coach were wearing masks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just wear your masks, people. Just save some money.
Trying to set a positive image, and by telling their head coaches to wear masks and basically trying to force them, this is how they're going to, mandate it.
Yeah, no, that's smart. Smart.
Oh, he was up and down.
Yeah, he doesn't just
Hard Knocks, they went up and down
just
constantly.
To get by. He's like yelling on the field, just like
so annoying.
Whatever. We love
Some people just they refuse to do so.
2-0, baby.
Rams are 2-0. One of the rare 5 teams, I think, they're still undefeated.
Okay, all right. That's not bad. It's not bad at all.
Yep.
Elsewhere in football news, still no positive COVID tests in week 2. So they're still running that machine clean, which is good now.
However, Tyrod Taylor, had quarterback for the Chargers, had to be rushed to the hospital pregame because of chest pains.
Ooh, so maybe next week?
No, because a doctor punctured his lung.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Like, accidentally?
Assumed accidentally. He was giving an injection prior to the start of the game to ease some pain and punctured his lung, so he had to be rushed to the hospital.
Thanks.
Thus, literally minutes before the game, Justin Herbert, the rookie, was announced as the starter.
Whew, hate to see that.
Well, yeah, especially for playing fantasy. Also, if you were starting Tyrod Taylor, you just suck at fantasy football because there's plenty of other quarterbacks out there to choose from.
Yeah, you might
But
get.
anyway,
you might have had last pick.
Tyrod Taylor is in the hospital currently with the punctured lung, unsure when or if he is able to play again.
I guess we'll find out.
He is currently out indefinitely.
Okay.
So,
but on the flip side of there being no COVID tests, positive COVID tests, we also have ACL tears up the wazoo. 7 different players have teared their ACL. Tore their ACL, the most in one single weekend of football.
Yeah, this was the weekend of injuries. I think on specifically the 49ers, the San Francisco 49ers, they had 7 injuries in the first half. I think like 10 in total throughout the game. But yeah, it was the week of ACL tears, including number 1 fantasy pick, Christian McCaffrey, tore his ACL. And then yes, he injured it.
Christian McCaffrey has a high ankle sprain.
He is out for 4 weeks.
With a high ankle sprain.
Would you like a doctor report?
Okay, let's give the real report.
Our medical reporter.
Barkley and Cortland Sutton both tore their ACLs.
Yes, poor say quads.
So they're out for the season, as well as Nick Bosa, who's a stud on the
Niners defense.
On the Niners defense. High ankle sprains, Christian McCaffrey and Jimmy G both are out probably 4 to 6 weeks unless they have some super healing powers.
Jimmy Jesus.
The Niners gave up everything to beat the Jets, like Thanos. Probably my favorite meme of the season so far. So real.
Yes, my star running back on their Mostert also got a high ankle sprain.
No, he has an MCL sprain. He's
Clearly.
probably gonna miss it.
Yes, they're just all injured.
See, this
We
detailed
sacrificed a lot of knees and ankles to the fantasy gods this weekend, but yeah, we'll see. Hopefully this is kind of the warm-up they needed to have it not be a bloodbath, because this is what happens, I think, when you don't have a preseason. But obviously 2020, it is what it is, but
yes,
I think that's kind of what we're seeing, like the benefits of actually having them have full speed reps before
and
running giant men into each other.
Stretching properly, being hydrated.
It is this detailed reporting that you won't get from the big names. Like those big conglomerates, they're just going to say, oh, football happened. We're going to give you medical reporting.
We have doctors on site to tell about medical reporting.
Anyway. All right, let's move on.
Lastly in NFL news, you will be excited to know that Media Boat favorite Blake Bortles has been resurrected from the dead.
Wow.
He is gone from the Jaguars to back up to the Rams to almost maybe starter for the Broncos, as they have called him up.
Wow.
They have signed him to a 2-year deal.
Wow.
2-year deal right now.
That's incredible.
Yeah, because Broncos quarterback Drew Lock also got injured.
What luck?
Well, Luck retired last year. So he could also be called up.
Yeah, who knows, right? Running out of players. Well, Godspeed, Blake Bortles. I hope you make it again. All right, let's stop talking about sports. We've done enough.
All right.
Let's start talking about television news, because there's a lot this week, because the Emmys happened.
All right. Who got awards?
Well, first of all, before we go rattle down the awards, did you watch? I know you watched these things later. You did not watch this live.
No, I did not watch them live. I watched the Creative Arts live.
Well, I watched these live, and boy, it was a weird year. As you'd imagine, they had to do everything remote. Well, not everything remote. There was a handful of celebrities who were on site to do presentations, to but no accepting. Accepting was all done remotely. They literally put interns in hazmat suits and sent them to people's houses, which I thought was a bit for the show. Turns out it was not a bit. I found out later in an article that somebody had posted that lived it, that was like, yeah, no, they put us in these suits and we had to go find these houses. We weren't even told if we had the winning Emmy. We were told to basically wait in front of the house until we watched the live presentation and saw the winner, and then then bolt it to where the celebrity was to hand it off.
So they would sit in front of the houses of whoever was next with Emmy in tote.
Yes.
Not sure if they would have to run out and give said Emmy.
It's bananas.
At least they lived locally.
So that's the thing is no, because some of them had to go to somebody's house in London, for example. Like they had to sometimes fly these people out. It's wild. It's wild. This whole thing was wild. Anyways, so the telecast it had moments of entertainment, and like Jimmy Kimmel was fine, but he was Jimmy Kimmel. You get Jimmy Kimmel for a specific vibe, and he delivered on that, whether you like it or not.
Right, he is the LCD.
So no,
LDC?
he's not Jimmy Fallon.
LCD?
That's Fallon.
Yeah, it's Fallon.
No, Kimmel operates on like a higher level, but
yeah, but he still gives off the family vibe.
Yeah, but he's safe. He's not a Ricky Gervais, And so yeah, sometimes he was able to get a couple barbs in, but generally he was pretty safe. But yeah, the winner. As for the winners, though, pretty predictable show this year. At least predictable if you're us, because I could have told you that it was going to be Schitt's Creek, Watchmen, and Succession 6 months ago, and sure enough, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Succession was your big winner for drama series, drama actor, and guest actress, drama directing, drama writing, and casting. Not quite a complete sweep, but goddamn close. But was a complete sweep was in comedy. Schitt's Creek took everything.
With its final season, with its final attempt.
Yes. Comedy and supporting actor, supporting actress, comedy writing, casting. You name it, they got it.
It swept the acting for both main and supporting. And then writing and directing.
So, fun fact, Dan Levy winning both or all three of directing, writing, and acting for a single show. Mm-hmm. That's only been done once before. Can you guess who in Emmy history has won for acting, directing, and writing for a single show, comedy?
I'm going to go with some heavy hitter legend, Lucille Ball.
No, after that.
Oh, after that. Dick Van Dyke.
After that.
After that. Oof. Give it to me. Jerry Seinfeld?
No. Before that, I'll thread the needle for you. Alan Alda and MASH.
Oh.
But that's still a different record because that was over several years. This happened in one night. So
yes, I was trying to go with one night, not over
it wasn't
several
in one
years.
night. Notice I did not say in one night.
Yeah.
I just said in general. Dan Levy now joins Alan Alda as the only two people who have done that. But Dan Levy did it in one night, which is incredible. So yeah, congratulations to the whole Schitt's Creek party. And they were partying.
Another series like that again.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe.
No, I mean, like they're done. They're not making any more.
They won't win again. Then, of course, in limited series, that's where HBO's Watchmen took the lead. Limited series, drama supporting actor, drama actress, writing, cinematography, costumes, editing, sound mixing, and casting.
That was a full sweep on the back end during the creative arts. And then it got its top series with limited as well.
Yes. So those are your three big ones. A smattering of other people did actually win. You note here that it wasn't televised, but The Last Dance won Best Documentary, as it should. And then one thing that was televised that is also a record that was set this year, the youngest ever actress to win lead actress in a drama, Zendaya for Euphoria.
Not Tatum O'Neal?
No.
That was the Oscars.
You're thinking the Oscars. No, the Emmy. That is a new record. Zendaya, who is 24. She is the youngest to win in that category. So congratulations.
What have I been doing with my life?
Congratulations to Zendaya. She remains Michi, in case you're wondering.
Yes, Zendaya is Michi Emmy.
Yeah, she is Michi. All right, let's move on. Anything else you want to say about the Emmys before we move?
No, they happened. Congratulations to TV that was. It'll be interesting to see TV that will be next year.
We will return to the Emmys in music, but you'll see why.
For a specific reason.
For very specific reasons. All right. Next up in television, let's talk about what you hinted at the top of the show, which is Marvel news.
Yeah, so some of this spilled over from last week and the previous week, but because they all just kind of like accumulated into what was this past weekend, we're just going to put it all together in case we missed it.
So if you're wondering what's happening with Marvel as they move closer and closer to debuting Disney Plus shows and other things in their universe, well, here's a little bit of an update for you. So after tapping Kat Coiro from the Mick and Single Parents as the director, Marvel Studios now has chosen their star for She-Hulk on Disney Plus, which is their new series. They have now chosen Tatiana Maslany from Orphan Black and Perry Mason to play the title character. So we have a She-Hulk, everybody. They also announced
Mark Ruffalo, current Hulk, gave the stamp of approval via Twitter.
Well, there you go. Then they also announced a Ms. Marvel series that will be on Disney Plus, centered around Kamala Khan and directed by Adil El Arbi and Dalal Thala, who worked on Bad Boys for Life.
They both directed Bad Boys for Life.
There you go. And written by Bisha K. Ali, who I guess wrote Four Weddings and a Funeral, the more recent one.
The one that was on Hulu, yes.
Hulu one. Finally, the first trailer, I should say, for WandaVision, the upcoming Disney Plus show, debuted during the Emmys with a release date of December. Not a specific day yet, but December. That looks neat.
Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting that this was supposed to come after Black Widow, but now it'll be reversed. Actually, I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier was supposed to premiere, is still set to premiere next month, I think.
But it will not. That's still in production.
Correct.
Then some bits for you to round up the news here.
Yeah, MCU bits.
MCU bits. Jonathan Majors from Lovecraft Country will play Kang the Conqueror in the next Ant-Man movie. As we mentioned in movies, Black Widow has officially been pushed back to 2021, along with Shang-Chi and the Eternals, both other MCU movies that were planned for sooner than later.
Yep, and then all of those productions basically got pushed back as well from it.
And the news that made a lot of people who followed the Black Panther franchise very happy: Letitia Wright is set up to take the Black Panther mantle and will follow the comic book story arc as it happened in the books. So fans got what they had been clamoring for.
Which was going to be a no-brainer, and also part of why Chadwick Boseman 3-picture deal that he was working with the MCU before his sudden passing. But there is a very prominent storybook arc with Letitia Wright's Shuri, who goes on a spirit adventure into the afterlife to, in a sense, bring back Chadwick Boseman or bring back T'Challa, and then only to accept his death and then confront the Avengers to basically say that he is dead, I am the new Black Panther.
Yeah, so
it'd be interesting to have her as an Avengers Black Panther.
I think so. I think this is a good call. It's a good ground. It's a good groundwork to lay to set up the rest of this story.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think that it's pretty cool.
Yep. Also, it might not be that obvious, but it certainly is obvious. Look for the tribute to Chadwick Boseman in the Black Panther 2 film.
Oh, they'll have to. Yeah,
yep.
There'll have to be something there. All right. That does it for that story about Marvel news, but we're not done with television yet because we watched some television.
Oh, we watched new TV.
We watched brand new spanking 2020 television. You want to go first?
I'll go first because mine seems like it happened so long ago, because it was.
Yeah.
It premiered last Wednesday, and I've had to wait a week to talk about it.
So this is a show that's been around for a while, but this is the newest season. Tell me about New Archer.
New Archer Sterling now on FX and next day on Hulu.
Yes.
That has been drilled into me.
FX on Hulu.
Yes. But Archer is back. And unlike the previous 3 seasons where they've been doing different coma-like dream states where
Right.
they do different genres, he's out of the coma. They're back to doing actual spy work.
Okay.
And it's been 3 years since he went to said coma, and they acknowledge that it's been 3 years. And as such, the spy agency has been upgraded to include new tech and a new point man in former accountant Cyril, who now takes lead and thus forcing Archer, former point man and constant drunk, to take a back seat and learn to be a supporting member. And
Okay.
that's kind of what this season is we're in a new world and have to play by new 2020 rules where a lot of like the previous jokes that you could make in office workplace that's no longer acceptable from Me Too and just overall debauchery that can no longer be made and should never have been made in the first place, but different times we're living in. So you have to learn to, so as the main character Archer, you have to learn to move forward and accept your new role and still remain comedy relevant by saying, oh, we don't do this anymore. What's wrong with this? And kind of poking fun at the character rather than what's been happening was the character poking fun at everything around him.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting approach because what you will have with these long-running shows is, there's a little bit of that, okay, the thing we used to do, the recurring joke in season 2, we just can't do anymore.
Right.
And so this is a good in-canon, in-universe excuse for them to be like, oh, we're better than that now. It's the time jump is both real and also real in the show, which is cool.
Yeah, it's fun. It's still funny. And I'm looking forward to the episodes now more so than I was when they were doing the specials.
Style parodies.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's interesting. It's going to be an interesting show, I think, to look back on because of how many different things they've tried, and the
Well, it's definitely interesting to look back on from their name point, which was ISIS, and how that had to be quickly rewritten out of the show.
Right. It goes to show you how old that show is.
Yes.
It's definitely an interesting piece of history. And it just shows the flexibility of animation that you can kind of make these decisions on the fly, especially with something that has probably a shorter pipeline than a lot of other animated shows due to its pretty much existence in Flash.
Yeah, also its existence in Georgia. It lives in Georgia.
Yeah.
Oh, Mystery Man.
Yes. Visitor. That sounds good.
Wait, real quickly, would you like to say anything about Archer?
Archer? The first episode was hilarious. I don't know if there's been a new one since then.
No, it's on Wednesdays, so we'll watch it tonight.
Beautiful. Yeah. Very excited about the new season.
All right.
Heard
it here first, folks. I'm glad that it's still good. I'm glad that they're keeping it fresh in different ways.
Yeah, and because it's animation, the characters don't have to age that much, unlike the actual actors.
Also good. All right. Did you watch anything else?
Nope, nothing new. Oh, but the Amy Schumer show,
yes.
Amy Schumer Learns to Cook, had its season finale. So that happened. That is no longer as done for now until next season.
Yes.
Whenever that may be.
All wrapped up for now.
I'm sorry. That is Emmy nominated. Amy Schumer Learns to Cook.
True. A show that you might be seeing in Emmy consideration next year, though, is a show I've been watching. It's brand new on Apple TV Plus. Yes. No, mark this down. This is the first time on this Media Boat podcast we've actually watched something on Apple TV Plus. I think, right?
Yeah, we didn't talk about C when it came out, and we haven't talked about Morning Show.
C. I just think it's so funny that they named.
We've also not talked about For All Mankind.
Well, the thing is that all those shows suck, and they finally put out a good one. All right, so I'm getting ahead of myself, but I've been watching the Jason Sudeikis vehicle, Ted Lasso. So, have you heard of this thing? Do you know what this is?
I assume this show would be right up my alley because it deals with sports but specifically soccer, the Premier League.
Yes. So, this is 100% up your alley.
Okay.
I think you would love this show because it's two things you like. It's a sports comedy, and it's produced by Bill Lawrence. So
that is Scrubs.
It's got Scrubs DNA in it. So those powers have combined, except not in the way that you'd think they would. So I watched this after I saw a few people on YouTube, what the hell, Twitter, point out that it was better than they thought it was going to be. I watched it, and the pilot is pretty close to perfect. I don't know the last time that I've seen this good of a pilot. It establishes the tone right away. So the premise, for those of you who don't know, is that Jason Sudeikis is a college football coach, like American football coach in America, was brought in, won a championship his very first time coaching the team. So obviously that's going to make him well known. Apparently so well known that meanwhile in the UK, a small football club in the Premier League, as you mentioned, decides that they want to, or actually they might not be in the Premier League. It's never really clear what they play in. They're just a football
The
club.
European Soccer League.
Yeah, a European, like a British soccer.
Sorry, the European Football League.
Yeah, they're not European. They're British. That's different. Now, remember?
Right, because Brexit happened.
Brexit. Anyway, so meanwhile, while this is happening, owner of the team goes through a real nasty divorce with his wife. His wife holds on to the team. He bails out. So the wife has to hire a new coach, and hires Ted Lasso from America to relocate to coach the team, even though it's not the same football in England. So the twist, which is revealed, which I have to give away because it's the premise of the show, otherwise it's revealed very cleverly halfway through the first episode, is that she's doing so to tank it.
I'll say, is this a major league situation?
It's a major league, it's a producers, it's that thing. It's the thing where she's trying to tank the team, make the team bad on purpose because it's her ex-husband's pride and joy. So she wants to get at the ex-husband by making it bad. So of course, that's why you would bring in somebody who knows zero things about football or soccer to coach your team.
Right. See, I thought you were going to go with, she's a woman who knows the internet and just types in football coach winner, and he's the one who pops up first.
So that's the thing. So you would think that a show with a lot of Scrubs DNA would be that kind of level.
Right.
But the thing that's cool about this is that no, it's not. It's very grounded and very realistic. So you're not going to get the Scrubs style or even Cougar Town style, which is another Bill Lawrence show, style of surrealness. You're not going to get the daydreaming. You're not going to get the over-the-top caricatures of characters. No.
Will you get the voice of God narration?
No.
Ooh.
So no, that's the thing, is this is Bill Lawrence trying on prestige TV, except even though that sounds crazy, that sounds like that shouldn't be a thing,
right,
he makes it work. And I don't know what, maybe it's because it's a collaborative effort, and Jason Sudeikis has writing credits on a lot of these episodes so far, which means that he may have also had input on the character. And yeah, there's it adds a grounded feel and realistic feeling to the show that I think is key, because it keeps it from being as absurdist and as goofy as Scrubs could be in its goofiest moments. But that doesn't keep it from being, but that doesn't mean it's dour or serious either. It's still very light. And the reason why that is because the character of Ted Lasso is just a fun guy. He's, full of kind of country style, sayings and turns of phrases. He's just a friendly, charming dude. He's
in an alternate world. I could see this kind of role going to Jason Bateman 10 years ago.
Yes, exactly. It's very much that energy. Just a good all-around guy who just wants to do the best thing for the team that he coaches.
Having just watched 30 Rock and having him come on 30 Rock, I can instantly see that.
Yeah, no. So 70% of why the show works as well as it does is because of Jason Sudeikis' character here. It's such a strong character. It's a great performance. It's like the right level of like, okay, I've definitely met this guy in my life before, this kind of dude who's just well-meaning and just wants to do the best thing, do the right thing. And then so you contrast that again, being basically paired with a boss who has ulterior motives and players that do not trust him at all because they see him as the interloper in their soccer team. And it turns into a very interesting dynamic. So it's a fish out of water show, as you might imagine,
Right.
with additional layers of like prestige TV on top of it. So you'll have all these different interpersonal relationships kind of meshing together in interesting ways, which is a very prestige-y thing that they're kind of borrowing. And it works. That's the crazy thing, is that it totally works. And it's a really watchable, really fun show. And so it's weekly right now on Apple TV. I think they're up to 8 episodes at this point. I don't know how long this current season is going to be. But the weekly format makes it exciting. It makes it feel like there's going to be new episodes around the corner.
Half-hour show?
Huh?
Half-hour comedy?
Yeah, it's half-hour comedy, very digestible.
Yep.
The only thing is yes, Apple TV Plus, not a thing that a lot of people have. But I will do this shout out. If you are planning on getting an Apple product soon, a free year, it comes with a purchase of a new Apple product. So if you're, for example, if you're going to pick up one of these new iPads soon, then yeah, you would get this for free. So you wouldn't even have to worry about it.
No, I definitely need to check because I bought an iPhone last year.
You might still be eligible.
I might still be eligible. I have to check.
Yeah. Check your little box. Actually, check the Apple TV app on your phone.
Well, no, it's not my phone. It's
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Yes.
But I wonder if like I can get that account onto like say an Xbox through Apple TV Plus.
So that's actually not something I don't know if there are apps on the consoles.
Right. Yeah, I don't know about that either. I have to look in that because otherwise you're watching it on a phone.
Yeah, you can log on to it on a phone. You can also log on to it on the web. Just go to the website for Apple TV Plus and
Right.
you'll be able to watch through the browser. I'm watching it on a handful of different devices. It turns out I have a lot of Apple things in this household.
Yes, you're trying to get into that ecosystem even though you bought a PC.
You can have both. You can do that. Anyway, so yeah, it's really good. I think it's definitely one of my favorite new things I've watched this year. So I'm very excited.
Yep, sounds good.
Yeah, I think you'd
sounds
really
like
like
something
it.
I should check out.
Yeah, you should definitely watch it if you figure out a way to do it.
Right, that's the thing. I got to figure out a way to do it.
Worst comes to worst, I could just give you my login.
No, FCC. He doesn't mean it.
Mine.
Apple TV. He does not mean that.
Okay, anything else on TV before we move into cancellations and renewals?
TV will return within the next weeks, roughly. You'll get some season premieres, some game show premieres.
Fall is here. Fall is officially started. We'll be fall TV very soon.
Yep. All right, let's move on then.
Cancellations and renewals time, of course, with
I'm
new
no
shows
longer
in fall
watching.
TV. Yes, because new shows in fall TV means that they've got to clear some of the detritus away. ABC has done just that and have canceled Stumptown, their big show from last fall.
So Stumptown did get the renewal,
Yes,
but because it has not gone into production, it is technically canceled.
right. It's technically
They may bring it back the next year, but as for now, it is canceled. It could be shopped around, but nothing is for certain. Sorry, Kobe Smulders.
she'll find other work.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they'll give her a Marvel show on Disney Plus too. So moving on, Quibi. Yes, Quibi, that Quibi. Not only is looking for a new buyer, apparently, but Quibi is also renewing some of their shows, including Die Hard for a second season.
Yes, the Kevin Hart solo vehicle.
HBO Max has renewed Raised by Wolves for a second season.
That's
I got-
Androids on Mars.
Yeah, I got an email for this today, and the subject line just said Raised by Wolves. It did not say anything about HBO Max. So I clicked on it being like, what the hell is this? Not remembering that this is that Ridley Scott thing. So yes. Harley Quinn is getting a third season on HBO Max, as we mentioned. That moved from the now defunct DC Universe.
Yes, I don't remember if we actually talked about that, but all DC
We might not
Universe
have.
programming is now moving over to HBO Max. DC
Yes.
Universe will become a solo place for artwork and comic books.
Yes. Netflix's The Dark Crystal Age of Resistance has been given the axe after just one season, so sorry, the Jim Henson Company. Power Book 2, Ghosts on
I think
Stars.
that's Power Book 2, Ghosts.
Oh.
I want to say it's a spinoff of Power.
It looks like Power Book 2.
Well, that's what it's that's how it's written out.
Yes.
It's not Power, Book 2, Ghosts. No, it's written as Power Book 2, Ghosts.
Could at least put a dash in there. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's been given a second season on Stars, is what you need to know. And then the CW continues their manicuring of their CW-verse, as they want us to call them, shows, by announcing that Supergirl will be ending after its 6th season.
Well, some shows have to end for others to begin.
It's true. That's what they
So
say.
Supergirl is ending for, I want to assume, the Lois and Clark show, because super people,
Probably.
too many Kryptonians.
Exactly. Can't have more than one.
All right.
And then it's
Oh, a handful of deaths
that's
here.
it for cancellation. So yes, now we have a handful of deaths, except if I was holding deaths in both hands, because that's how many we've got this week. We'll get to that one in a moment. But first, we got Winston Groom, age 77, the author of Forrest Gump and Gump and Company, obviously had that big Oscar-winning movie based on it. So there you go. Pamela Hutchinson, age 61, a singer from The Emotions. Georgia Dobbins, age 78, a singer from The Marvelettes, also wrote their hit, Please, Mr. Postman.
She is credited with writing Please, Mr. Postman, probably their most famous hits, or at least one of them.
Mr. Postman, etc. Alan Tompkins, age 81, art director on The Empire Strikes Back, Saving Private Ryan, Batman Begins, some big, big movies there.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Chapman, age 84, cinematographer, Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, The Fugitive. So,
Scorsese's guy.
lazy man. Ron Cobb, age 83, set designer for Star Wars, Alien, Back to the Future, Conan the Barbarian. So big in the 70s and 80s.
He is credited with the look of the DeLorean for Back to the Future.
There you go. Tommy DeVito, no relation, age 92, Hall of Fame musician and singer, one of the members of the Four Seasons.
I believe he was Winter.
Sigh. Gail Sayers, age 77, NFL Hall of Famer of the Chicago Bears, and of course the subject of Brian's song.
Yes, he befriended Brian Piccolo, who was an NFL linebacker, and then had to end his journey early from brain cancer.
Yes.
Who in the 70s befriended Gail Sayers, the black running back from the Chicago Bears during a tumultuous time of the 70s.
Yes.
And thus the story of Brian's song.
Yes. But of course, the one that shook the nation this week, the unfortunate timing that it was, Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, age 87, was appointed to the court back in 1993, was only the second woman to be appointed. And yeah, we thought was going to be around forever. Well, not so. And it has now caused tumult in the Supreme Court, as now the Senate and a lot of Republicans in our government are trying to fast track a vote to the end of the year before there is a new president installed. So we will see what happens with that, but it does not look good, let's say, for the liberal minority in the Supreme Court right now.
That clip of Lindsey Graham has been going around constantly, everywhere I turn.
Yes. And the thing I will say about this that I've said to everybody who's asked me about it, I literally had, so friend of the show, James, literally called me that night to see what my take on it was. And I told him the same thing I'll say now, which is we should have never expected civility from them. Like, the fact that we expect like certain politicians to keep their word, that's on us, because we should not be assuming that they're not going to try for a power grab any time they possibly can. We can't take like this kind of politician on their word. Of course, they're going to go back and do the opposite of what they said they were going to do 2 years ago, because of course that's who they are.
Because it benefits them.
Yeah, it benefits them, period. That's all they care about. They do not care about civility. They just don't. Anyway.
This is why voting matters.
Yeah, that's been your politics corner for the Media Book Podcast.
And this is our subject to make sure you are registered to vote. Make sure you vote early.
Deadlines are coming up for a lot of states in October. So keep an eye out. Make sure you go to a website. Just Google real quick, verify voting status in state name, and you'll probably get to a link where you can verify your status. Make sure you're on the books. Make sure that you're getting vote by home ballot so that we don't have to go in person, and drop them off. You can mail them, but that's potentially risky in certain locations. So drop them off at a polling location.
Also confirm your polling location. If you have moved, your polling location may have changed, or you need to
change
where you are voting from.
Yes.
Also, on the note of this voting, if you are around, I want to say make sure you check where your polling place is, because NFL stadiums and NBA stadiums have opened up their facilities to become voting places, which means they have the parking to do it and they have the space to do it, to keep people socially distanced.
So so that's all good news as we get ever so closer to Election Day in November. So keep an eye out on that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, with that, let's swap it over to you and let's talk about some music.
All right, and we start music with the Billboard, and we start the Billboard with the Hot 100. Your hottest song is What About Playlists?
It's not What About Playlists.
What? What's WAP?
Yeah, that stands for something else.
Oh. What About People?
No.
Who Ate Potatoes?
I'll give you that one just because it would be really, really funny to have Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion rapping about who ate potatoes.
We Are Problem. Bum, 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 bum.
No. Anyways,
WAP by Cardi B featuring Megan Thee Stallion, your number one song this week yet again.
Yes. You're going to be saying yet again a lot.
The wettest. As number 2, Dynamite by BTS. Number 3, Laugh Now, Cry Later by Drake featuring Lil Durk.
Mm-hmm.
And number 4, Rockstar by DaBaby featuring Roddy Ricch. And at number 5, Blinding Lights by The Weeknd. If that sounded familiar,
same.
Nothing changed.
Nothing changed in the Hot 100, but we do have shakeup on the albums chart.
Yes, your Billboard 200. Your top album this week is, wouldn't you know it, Top by Young Boy Never Broke Again.
Yes. Media vote favorite, Young Boy Never Broke Again.
At number 2, Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon by Pop Smoke. At 3, Legends Never Die by Juice WRLD. 4, Folklore by Taylor Swift. And at number 5, back in the top 5, Hamilton by the original Broadway cast.
Yes. This is interesting because predictions this week were all over the place. It didn't seem like anybody knew, any of the pundits could figure out what was going to be number 1. I don't think anybody thought that at the last minute that Young Boy Never Broke Again would do it because there was all sorts of different predictions. Some people even thought that Taylor was going to get back at number 1 this week. Did not happen. So congratulations to the young boy who's never going to be broke again.
Oh, I listened to some Taylor Swift folklore this past weekend.
You did.
Yeah, I did. It's still a good album.
Still works.
Yep.
Turns out.
If you didn't like any of those albums, we have new releases.
Okay, what am I listening to this week?
Probably folklore. I mean, I don't know what you're listening to, but here are the new releases.
There we go.
So Help Me God by Media Boat favorite 2 Chainz.
All right.
Do we get another birthday song?
Probably not. No.
Only for Dolphins by Action Bronson.
Mm-hmm.
Blue Hearts by Bob Mould. Blue Summer by Kaikus. Ohms by Deftones. Ultra Mono by Idols. What you gonna do when the grid goes down? Question mark? By Public Enemy.
Yes, that Public Enemy.
Haunted Painting by Sad 13.
Mm-hmm.
The Ascension by Sufjan Stevens. Free Love by Sylvan Esso. By the Fire by Thurston Moore. And lastly, Fear of Death by Tim Heidecker.
Which, of course, is the Tim Heidecker of Tim and Eric.
Yep.
So,
A little bit of everything for everyone here.
yeah, definitely something for everybody this week.
Something for everyone except for me, apparently.
Except for you. But that's okay. You have folklore.
That's okay. I have folklore. Now, I actually have to go through all my albums and start narrowing down what's going to be a top album for the year.
It's September.
Yeah.
We're getting very close.
Sorry. Next week is October, and we have 3 months to figure that out.
Figure out our lists. Yeah, it's happening.
Yep. Start preparing those. Well, speaking of lists and things preparing for people. Yes, that is a sentence.
That was
Things
a segue.
preparing for people.
Beautiful segue. Wonderful.
Elton John, he's in the news because he has announced the rescheduled North American dates for his Farewell Yellow Brick Road tour. Yes, remember when that got canceled back in March? Well, following his recently announced dates in Europe, which begin September 1st, 2021,
Yes.
in Berlin, the tour will kick off again in North America on January 19th, 2022 in New Orleans, making stops in major markets, including Houston, Chicago, Toronto, New York, Miami, and more. The latest dates on sale are arena shows, which were rescheduled due to the pandemic. The tour will conclude with a series of select stadium performances taking place worldwide. Additional information on these concerts will be announced at a later date. I would not be surprised if he closed it out either in Dodger Stadium, one of his more famous ones, or New York Stadium.
Like Madison Square or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is smart. Like, at this point, this is what every artist should be doing, at least the big ones that have these bigger tours. Just push it all back to 2022, because 2021 at this point is a huge question mark.
Right, which is why they're going with Europe tours only in 2021, because they have everything under control there. This is why we can't have nice things.
Not everything, but yes, more so than we do.
When you have double digits to single digit cases, yes, that is considered under control.
At least, again, in comparison.
Yes.
Still not arena show under control, though, which is why those are the last that are going to happen in anywhere. So, yeah, I mean, I think this is smart. I think just keep pushing. Yes, it sucks because it means that even more time without getting this business done, because this isn't just about rich person Elton John who can afford to put this off. It's also about the touring crew and like a whole bunch of people that make these shows work.
Right, you're talking about grips, key, lighting, dancers, audio, tech.
This also
Incentive,
pushes back their
breakdown,
paycheck a long
security,
time. Yes. So yeah,
catering,
it's hard, but this is the smartest healthcare wise.
ushers, ticketing. Yeah, that's the thing that most people easily forget is then because NFL stadiums are currently opening up to allow fans, but only at a 10 to 15% capacity.
Right.
And people are saying, look, they're safe. Why can't we have more? Because it's not just the 1,500 fans you let in. It's the 100 fans at concessions. It's the 100 employees at concession, the 100 employees that are ushers, the 100 employees that are security, the 100 employees that are doing merch, that are doing ticket sales, that are doing security, that are doing first aid, that are doing response, that there's all these other people that the 1,500 fans you let in, there's probably 2 people for every fan that you let in. So double that to 4,500 people in a stadium, not including the people on the field playing the game.
Right. The numbers adds up. They add up really quickly.
Right, and I think that's one thing that people easily forget because they don't see them as people. They just assume they're a part of the facility when no, those are people doing their job.
Yep.
And yes, I understand that job is income that $1,200 has run out from by now, which they obviously need said income.
Yeah. Needless to say.
All
right. Let's move on.
I forgot where I was going with this soapbox here. Where'd it
go? But yes, it's a big operation is basically the bottom line. And that's why they have to make sure that everybody is safe.
Right. Because if you're not safe, it can get shut down, much like the production for Batman.
Yes.
Which I think, sidebar, it's up and running again.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Pattinson tested positive, so he's good. And
you mean he tested negative?
Yes, he tested positive for negative. Negative is positive, and that's why you got to reverse it.
Anyway. Okay, let's move on.
Yes, let's move on real quickly. So, you had mentioned the Emmys.
Yes.
That we will be talking about in music. Well, it's music, so let's talk about the Emmys.
Because music people win Emmys sometimes, and there's a handful of them who are very, very close to getting the highest prize in the land. And what is that highest prize?
That is the EGOT Award.
EGOT.
Yep. And composer Ludwig Goransson has now entered an Emmy companion for his Oscar and 3 Grammys, winning on Saturday night for his music for for Disney Plus's Star Wars spinoff.
That's not I want to say that is not my typo. That is Variety's typo.
That is Variety's little insert for people who are copying.
You can blame Mr. Penske for that one.
Yes. For Disney Plus's Star Wars spinoff, The Mandalorian. It is his first Emmy nomination and win, keeping alive his winning streak for copying the Oscar and Grammy for Black Panther, and 2 more Grammys for Record and Song of the Year last year. The Mandalorian also won for music composition for a series, beating out The Crown, Euphoria, Ozarks, and Succession, all of which have gone on to win Best Drama or Best Show in their categories.
Yeah.
Actually, those are all dramas. Yeah, all won Best Dramas, except for Ozarks. Never won.
Yeah, Ozark didn't win jack shit.
Nope. Not Euphoria, but it did win for Best Actress.
Oh, yeah.
Like his fellow composers, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, who won the Emmy Thursday night for music composition for a limited series, Watchmen, the Swedish-born Goransson, 36, is now just 1 award away from the EGOT, being the Tony. So right now he has an ego.
Yes, all 3 of these people discussed in the story have egos currently. They just need the T.
Yep, which is the ultimate showbiz crown, according to some. Accepting remotely, as all Emmy winners did, Reznor said, quote, "We're very proud to be involved with a show that's relevant, smart, and daring. We were charged and affected by working on this, and it's great to see it resonate with the world at large." He thanked creator Dan Lindelof for providing such a broad canvas to paint on. It might be the only canvas to paint on, as season 2 is up in the air.
Yeah. So, of course, the thing about this is that you can get really close and maybe never get this, because the T is notoriously the hardest one to get, because you basically have to have your song, in these people's cases, you basically have to do a Broadway show in order to get a Tony in this category. So it's going to be harder for them to EGOT than a lot of people who start with the Tonys and then move out.
Right. Like the Andersons.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you usually see the T and then you branch. These guys are coming from the other side, which is going to be really hard. So friend of the show, Christy, would probably have a lot of things to say about their probably unlikely Tony wins, but she's not here right now. So
I don't know. If one of these three, between Goransson, Ross, and Reznor, I would put money on Reznor just because he always has a lot of hands.
Yeah, in all sorts of stuff. I want to see a 9 Inch Nails musical. Make it
Maybe
happen.
not 9 Inch Nails, but also
That's Trent Reznor's band.
Yeah, I know that, but like his music's not. Yeah. Well, because it'd be music and lyrics, right? Not just like music as a tone.
Well, you can win for score. Like there's
Right, so there's a score then.
Yeah, there's like orchestration that's not directly linked to just the music and
Right,
music.
there's musicals, right? There's plays,
dramatic plays. Like there's ways where he could do it. Like he could do it for a dramatic play. Like, hey, for instance, his buddy, who was the screenwriter on The Social Network, who Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross wrote the score for, Aaron Sorkin, was currently running an adaptation of To Kill a Mockingbird on Broadway this past season before quarantine. So Aaron Sorkin's already there. So if maybe he asks his buddies to do like a score for one of his next shows, boom, there's your T.
Ooh, I could see that kind of tone working well with like Death of a Salesman.
Oh, modern take on Death of a Salesman.
Yeah, which I think it might be 10 years since Death of a Salesman was on Broadway. I keep trying to delay to think of his name.
Our resident Broadway expert is unfortunately not here to chime in.
No, Dustin Hoffman won. I know, for Death of a Salesman.
But yeah,
it was on Broadway.
Maybe on a future show, if we can get Broadway expert, friend of the show, Christy, on here, maybe she'll have something to say about this.
All right.
But until then, we can just wonder about how they'll get their T's.
T for timeout.
T for timeout.
T for Trent Reznor.
I guess T. All right, that's it. So, music. Did you listen to any?
I listened to one new album. Like I said, I listened to Folklore. But before I listened to Folklore, I listened to Keith Urban's new sound, The Speed of Now, Part 1.
Part 1.
Yes.
That's key.
It is definitely key, because I assume that second album will be a country album. This one was not.
What is it? What is it?
Keith Urban likes to blur that line between pop and country. This leans heavy into pop, like the first 3-4 songs, and then it starts to tilt that meter back towards country, but never really gets there. This is more a pop album for Keith Urban than it is country.
So is this like Red era Taylor Swift? Is that what you're saying?
No, this is more like actual like 1989 pop.
Whoa, I was not expecting that.
Neither was I when I was listening to it. The beats are hell catchy though. They're really like the hook and lyrics are really catchy and really get into you. But it is not a country album. I was expecting country and I got this. And I was like, what? Huh? Am I listening to actual Keith Urban? Because it sounds like Keith Urban, just with a whole like pop vibe. It works. I mean, think The Fighter, but like that album, like a whole album, those kind of songs, where The Fighter, with Carrie Underwood is not a country song.
Mhm.
It's played on country radio.
Yeah.
And also like everywhere because it's a mono-genre pop song. But the thing, that song, that's kind of what you get with this album.
Yeah. Huh. Okay.
So if you like The Fighter, I think you might like this album. You might be a Keith Urban pop fan.
But for those who are going in expecting a very country experience,
Yeah, this is not. This is not. No, you
Yeah.
might find some on the back end, but for the most part, this is a straight pop album.
Interesting.
Which makes me
Okay.
think part 2 will be his countryside.
Yeah, part 2, all acoustic.
Yeah. Didn't
Calling it
probably
now.
Judson do that with the side B part 2? All of
No. Side B was just more pop songs.
Okay.
Anyway, interesting.
I
did
did
not-
you listen to anything?
No.
All right. Let's move on as we speed into the last corner here with video games.
Whew. What a week in video games.
Oh, yes. First up, we have Going Under on the PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and PC.
Uh-huh.
That is my Evanescence Going Under song right
Got
there.
it. Okay. All right. I
we
don't think
also
it's based on Evanescence. Although, somebody out there should make an Evanescence video game. That'd be pretty rad.
You just start by waking up.
Yeah.
Waking up inside.
Yes. Can't wake up.
They're just trying to. The whole game is trying to bring him to life.
Save me. Yeah.
Moving on, we have Troll Hunters: Defenders of Arcadia on the PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and PC. I assume this is from the Netflix show Troll
Yes.
Hunters.
Based on the Netflix show.
We also have Port Royale 4 for the PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. Gnomes and Goblins for the PC. Tears of Avia for the Xbox and PC.
It might be Tears.
Might be Tears.
Who knows?
We also have Serious Sam 4 for the PC. And lastly, Mafia: Definitive Edition for the PlayStation, Xbox, and PC.
Yep.
They should have named that something other than Definitive Edition.
Like Mafioso edition or something like that. The Dawn's edition.
Yeah, like Dawn's Edition, or
The offer you can't refuse.
that's too long. Last Offer Edition.
Yeah, but then the joke doesn't really work.
Cannoli Edition.
There it is. There it is. There it is. There it is.
Because you get the
Solved it.
whole cannoli in it.
Yep. Comes with the cannoli.
All right.
Not a gun,
Let's-
though.
All right, let's move into video games real quick. I want to switch these two because I want to talk longer about the first one.
Okay, sure.
So last week we noted that the Xbox Series X and the PS5 finally got prices
Yes.
and finally got release dates, thus meaning they finally went on pre-sale.
Yeah.
Allowing for pre-orders. Well, if you were lucky enough to get a pre-order, congratulations.
Yeah.
Because now that prices and release dates for both of them have been announced, yeah, you might be out of luck by now. Because countless people found out this week that unfortunately it's not that simple to get a pre-order anymore. As pre-orders for the PS5 went live hours after the PlayStation live stream ended, and retailer websites weren't ready. Carts would error out, sites would 404, and GameStop even barred some customers from reloading the page. Those who did manage to secure a box from customers were later
Specifically
found
from
out
Amazon.
that Amazon found out later that the units wouldn't even make the release date. Sony apologized the next day via social media and said there would be more units coming soon. Microsoft used this as ammo against Sony, telling their fans that Xbox pre-orders would be scheduled and bug-free. But even the Series S and X weren't immune to site overload, as problems were reported all day long as well. Amazon even saw Xbox One X sales.
Key 1X.
Yes, which could potentially mean a whole lot of disappointment come November 10th, which we talked about and wanted to warn against.
So yeah, if you go on to the top sellers on Amazon right now, yeah, the One X like soared from like way down in the deep end to like the top 50, which has a lot of people wondering like, oh shit, did people screw up? Like,
Of course they did.
yeah, they just searched Xbox X or something, and
Mm-hmm.
that was the first thing that popped up. Yeah, it's bedlam out there. It was apparently just 2 straight days of just, well, and a weekend full of just like people not knowing how to get one of these things on both platforms.
PS or Sony and PlayStation even went so far as to give people certain pre-order codes to try and get them to pre-order from their website specifically. Yeah. And even that had problems.
Yeah, it all boils down to it seems like they were not prepared for the reaction, as they were not prepared for this kind of numbers, this kind of turnout.
Well, seeing as they need to have like a stockpile set for all these to be made, I'm wondering if there's just not enough numbers, like enough people to make said boxes, which is why they had to limit pre-orders.
So you would think that, but no, they made sure through the entire, like, before even announcing price and release dates, both Sony and Microsoft said repeatedly that it was not going to be a supply chain shortage, that they've made enough boxes. Sony, in fact, specifically said that they've manufactured 11 million PlayStation 5s for this. So no, not a problem. The problem seems to be the retailer side. Problem seems to be is that the retailers and the people who are actually selling the boxes got caught off guard because there was now, especially on the Sony side, there was no specific date and time for these to go up. So if you're Target and you get the call from Sony on Wednesday afternoon being like, okay, push them.
Like, we have a price, we can push these now for pre-order.
Push them. Then you're panicking because you're like, are the servers ready? I don't know. Like, is this going to break? It turns out they turned on the switch and it totally broke because no one was ready.
As someone from a pushing product side, you have everything set to go live except for a price. So you're waiting for that price to be set. As soon as it is, you enter price, everything will auto-generate because it's already set to go live. You hit enter, it goes live.
So yeah, just no one was ready. Any of these platforms, especially GameStop. So GameStop was the funniest one. I'm sure you saw some of those screenshots of people being like with screens that just say you have been banned from using this site. It's just crazy. It's like so strange, like the stuff that happened with this thing.
That wasn't even the craziest story of the week.
Yeah.
All right. I gotta calm myself down here because I gotta get ramped right back up for this.
So the other big video game news story, happened later in the week.
Yeah. So as we mentioned last week, Sony made their announcement and said, hey, here's our price. Microsoft was not going to go quietly, as they had announced that Bethesda, the publisher and studios behind Fallout and the Elder Scrolls series, would be joining Xbox, as well as several other studios, because Microsoft announced the official Xbox on the official Xbox Wire blog that it had entered an agreement to purchase ZeniMax Media, which is not Bethesda, but rather the parent company of Bethesda Softworks, which itself owns Skyrim Studio Bethesda, GameWorks, Doom Studio, id, Dishonored Studio, Arcane, and many more. Microsoft confirmed that titles from across Bethesda's catalog will soon join Xbox Game Pass, including a Bethesda's game studio's eagerly awaited next title, Starfield. Quote, just as they took the bold first steps to bring the Elder Scrolls franchise to the original Xbox, Bethesda were early supporters of Xbox Game Pass, bringing their games to new audiences across devices and have been actively investing in new gaming technology like cloud streaming of games, Phil Spencer wrote in the announcement. Now, how much did they buy ZeniMax for?
I actually know the answer, so if you want the real answer, I can just give it to you.
Oh no, give me the real answer, and then I'll tell you stuff. Wait, no. Let's do this reverse then.
Yeah.
Okay, so Disney purchased Pixar back in 2004 for $8 billion.
Yes.
Higher or lower?
It's slightly lower.
Okay. Disney purchased Star Wars for $4 billion.
This one is higher.
Yes, right there. So that's where you're talking about how much money is being thrown around here.
Yeah.
In the billions of dollars.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, I want to say it's 7.5 billion.
I saw 7.5 or 7.4, both floating
Right,
around.
because it was double the Star Wars bid.
Yeah, regardless, that's a lot of money for a game company. But that's the thing, it's not just a game company. The key thing that is getting lost in a lot of this is that Bethesda is also a publisher, not just a studio that runs their own studios. So this was a business. That's why it was a $7.5 billion business. It's because ZeniMax did a lot of different things. The Doom franchise, everything under id comes with this. So Microsoft now owns those games too.
Yep, and Microsoft also owns everything under Arcane as well.
Yes. So yeah, it's a lot of stuff, and I see why Microsoft would be interested in making an investment like this, because it locks down big Bethesda open world games like the next Elder Scrolls and Starfield to Xbox platforms and PC.
Now, this is where everyone went up in arms, is will these upcoming titles that people assume they're making become exclusive to Xbox or PC gaming?
Yes, they would, because I can't imagine them doing a deal with Sony at this point. They don't need to.
Yes, but that's also just free money coming into them, though, if they do a deal with Sony.
I think any existing games that have already been distributed on those platforms will obviously stay.
But I see games like Dishonored and Arcane possibly doing...
Microsoft's going to make it lucrative for them to... Well, it doesn't even matter. That's not the conversation. It's not even a conversation, because they are now a first-party studio.
Right.
So forget about Sony platforms is what this means. You're not gonna have a Fallout game on a PlayStation anymore. You're just not.
I don't see why you would eliminate that, though.
Because you're owned by Microsoft.
I understand that. Yeah, I understand that you want to play, like, you want to keep your game on your studio, on your platform. And this does make Game Pass look extra juicy now. Yes. I wonder if they will have, like ESPN does, the added sports package. Like, oh, now you get the ZeniMax package.
So juicy.
Don't even need to do that. It's just, this is a Microsoft game now. Like, it's just a branding thing now. Like, they'll keep, like, the IP separate, but I think that, it'll just be like, this is a Microsoft Game Studios title developed by Bethesda. Period.
It just goes under that whole Microsoft Stoop publisher umbrella.
Yeah, 100%. That's what it is now.
Well, at least Bethesda and Obsidian are now under the same umbrella again.
So, yeah, I guess so, huh? I didn't think about that. That's a good angle that I didn't consider. That so Obsidian can, in theory, now work with those
and Rare and id can be together now.
They could, exactly. That's
so. There is one hot topic that I've seen floating around with all these studios being forced to be under the same umbrella.
Okay.
And that is that a Smash Brothers style game could be created from them.
Not gonna happen.
Not a fighting game, mind you, but rather a shooter game.
Oh, like a hero shooter, like a Overwatch kind of thing.
Where you throw all these types of characters together.
I mean, Ubisoft basically just did that with whatever their mobile game that they put out a couple months ago was, with all their characters in it. It's possible, but I don't think we need it.
I don't know. You have Master Chief shooting around with Doom Guy, shooting around with Marcus Phoenix, shooting around with
Vault Dweller.
yeah.
Yeah. Could
It's
happen.
possible. It can happen. They're all they're all working together now.
Maybe. With what's her name from Control. Oh wait, no, that's not theirs.
No, but what was it? Deathloop is now under their.
Yeah, so since that's a pre-existing thing, that will still be a PlayStation game.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, this is a big purchase, possibly story of the year, or would it be?
maybe we'll see how it turns out. Maybe it's lousy. Maybe like this changes the vibe over there. Who knows?
Yeah, but also just realize that this was probably the TikTok money they were going to throw at him.
Yeah, I did wonder that this coming so close to the announcement of them not being able to spend the money on TikTok. But then some other rumors that followed this kind of serve to disprove that, which is that they're not done, apparently. There's a rumor now going around that Microsoft still has money to burn in the video game department and are still going to buy some other studio.
Right, because Microsoft as a whole is a $143 billion company that they probably have on hand.
So yeah, I saw
$7 billion of that is what? 20%?
Yeah, something.
No, wait, no, that's 5%. That's $7 billion is 5% of 140 billion.
So yeah, I saw some people tossing around like studios like maybe even Sega, like some other big
Yeah,
fish.
I saw Capcom.
Capcom, Konami.
Konami.
Like yeah, they may not be done, and so we may have another story like this in a month or so.
Right.
Who knows?
Well, what I do know is that they're not going to purchase anything from Nintendo.
No.
Nope, because they are making their own money. They literally print money over there, which goes to our thoughts section.
Yes, we both played some video games. I actually played I played the game you did too, so I can talk about that as well.
Okay. So, but first, we're talking about Nintendo here. So tell me about Super Mario 3D All-Stars.
So yes, as I mentioned last week, I got a copy of Super Mario 3D All-Stars, which, as I mentioned, is a collection of Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy on one Switch cart, or digital download if you're me. And yeah, it's exactly what you think it is. No surprises here. Like, this is just those three games. So if you're going on into this expecting vastly different like design choices, vastly new content or anything like that, well, this is not the game that you think it is. This is literally just ports of these existing three games, which is good and bad. It's good if you like those games because they remain pretty much intact. Some Control follow-up from last week. So I mentioned last week I didn't know how Mario Galaxy worked in certain situations.
Right.
So it does actually play on both a portable, so Switch Lite, you can actually play Mario Galaxy on it, and it does work on a Pro Controller. So what they've done is they've translated the motion control stuff in different ways depending on how you're playing it. So I'm not going to go into all of it, but what I will say is that if you have a light and you're playing Galaxy, you can click the star bits by touching the touch screen. So
there's the touch screen.
that is how you do it.
Okay.
So, and the shake thing that made Mario do the spin move is now mapped to a button in all versions of the game. So you can just press the button and be fine.
Okay.
So yeah, so the good news is that yes, you can play any of the games on any of the formats of ways you could play Switch, which is great. But yeah, the bad news is that it's just that. It's just those games. But
did they fix the aspect ratio from 4:3 to 6:9?
Only on Mario Sunshine. Mario 64 remains a 4:3 game. They did not do any work to making that widescreen, but Sunshine is widescreen. So I played all three of them for a little bit. I played a lot of Mario 64 because that's kind of the reason why I bought this thing.
Obviously.
I'm 35 stars into that thing already, so made a dent into it.
What do you mean? Aren't you supposed to be able to beat that game in like 2 hours?
I'm not a speedrunner. I played a little bit of Mario Sunshine, enough to remind me that maybe I don't want to play any more Mario Sunshine. And then I played a little bit of Galaxy just to be like, okay, yeah, I could probably play more of this sometime soon. So yeah, they're both they're all still very good games in different ways. Sunshine stuttered a little bit in the frame rate, which I was not expecting, and this was docked, which makes me a little worried about its performance. It definitely looked pretty though. So yeah, that's a good looking port of that thing, but I'm just a little worried about its consistency when it comes to its 60 frames. Galaxy though ran great, and Mario 64, it runs at 30 frames because it's a Nintendo 64 game. But other than that, it plays just as you remember it. So yeah, I think it's a good solid package for people who like these games. But yes, as I mentioned, buyer beware. One, you have to buy it before March because it's going away at the end of March.
Yep.
And that two, if you're expecting any work, Nintendo didn't do a thing to these except for widescreening Sunshine and pumping up the resolution. That's it. So,
All right. So as not a fan of Mario or haven't played any of those games,
because that's the toughie. I think if you have a Switch and you have ever heard of these games and are curious about them, there's a lot of fun to be had here. There's hours upon hours of game. Like any one of these three games will take you like 20 hours to beat. So if you are curious at all and you like Mario as a concept and you've never played them, I say, and you have a Switch, absolutely, I think try it out because these are really great games. They're classics. Mario 64 maybe hasn't aged as well because it feels kind of old in certain departments, but it's still a classic. If you have played all these games before and maybe have access to the original consoles, then I might say maybe don't spend $60 on it.
okay, but otherwise they're the same games that you think they are.
This is the package that you think it is. There's these three games, nothing more, nothing less.
Okay. So they're the Kingdom Hearts 1.5 HD bundles of Nintendo World.
The All-Star name is a misnomer. You're not getting new versions just like you did in the Super NES Mario All-Stars. You are getting like the Kingdom Hearts 2. Whatever.
The final mixes.
Except minus any new content that you get in those games.
Right, which as those were the final mixes that were exclusive to Japan.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it is what it is. And some people are going to like that. Some people are not going to like that. But I'm totally okay with it.
Okay, you're okay with not liking it. Perfect.
I'm okay with being okay with it.
All right. And lastly, last game we both played then.
Yeah.
Real briefly, because it was only available for a limited time.
Yes.
Call of Duty, Black Ops, Cold War, Alpha.
Yeah.
It played like Call of Duty.
Yeah, what'd you think about this Call of Duty?
So the previous Call of Duty that I played was the Call of Duty Modern Warfare beta.
Yeah.
I didn't buy the game, I just played the beta. And I said the beta ran nice, looked nice. I hadn't played Call of Duty in a while, and it ran smooth.
Yeah.
I can say the exact same thing about this game.
Yeah, pretty much.
It looks like Call of Duty. It plays like Call of Duty. It feels like Call of Duty.
Yeah.
They did. I'm not sure how often they've been doing this, but they added more characters, like skins you can choose from. The loadout seemed very familiar. It seemed like, oh, that's right, Call of Duty. I remember how to play this game. Also, I died a lot. I remember why I stopped playing this game.
Call of Duty, yeah. It's very, very, it feels very similar to last year's game, which is good because last year's game was great.
Mm-hmm.
I talked about it a lot on this podcast. So yeah, if you're going into this expecting more Modern Warfare, you're going to get that. Some of the more Black Ops-y touches are in there, though. There's some stuff that only the Black Ops games have for customization options, and some of that carries over here. There also is some interesting like UI stuff that's new this time that I thought it was actually pretty cool. The style of this thing is pretty cool. Like names of names of locations and like stuff like that will be very bold and in your face. And that stuff was really cool. It fits the aesthetic of the Black Ops games. I think it was the alpha, although brief and limited as it was fun. It was a fun little thing. So I think that hopefully that means that the whole package will be good. We've only seen a little bit of the campaign so far. And I think this week we're going to see the first tease of the zombies mode.
Okay.
but it's good at least knowing that the multiplayer looks like it's going to be solid, just like last year's game. So that's great.
Yeah, I had fun playing it. I mean, I'm not, even though I said I remember why I didn't like playing it. That's not to say it wasn't a bad experience. I enjoyed my experience playing
Right.
it. I tried to get some streaming in onto the webs, onto on here on YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
but the timer had run out by then.
Oops.
So you'll see a 10 second to a minute clip of me trying to play it and then saying, "Thanks for playing the alpha. We'll be back next time."
Oh, no. Oh, well, you tried.
I know. Well, I played it like when it came out, so I got some experience into it.
You got some of it.
Yeah. But yeah, it mainly rotated between two maps, the Miami map and then the submarine map or the sunken ship map. But it looked good, played good. Very few glitches. Trying to get into a lobby was probably the main thing. But other than that, it was a pretty solid experience, I would say.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was a fun time while it lasted.
For being an alpha, it played better than Marvel's Avengers beta.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now that thing that they were calling it an alpha in name only. That just means that they're going to do a beta as well. There's
Right.
no way that stuff is alpha. Alpha video games are literally like unfinished.
Mm-hmm.
This is a misnomer. But still, yeah, I'm glad to see that it looks like a quality product so far.
Yep. All right. Anything else?
No, I think that will do it.
Okay. I have been doing a lot of research lately because I was going to get Super Mario 3D All-Stars.
Mm-hmm.
But I came across Hades, which we talked about last week.
Yes.
From Transistor.
Yes.
Who brought us Transistor.
Supergiant.
I may be picking that up for the Switch.
I hear very good things about Hades.
I have been hearing good things from it too. I'm watching some people play it. It's getting me wanting to play it. I like, as you know, I like the Hades underworld, all Greek mythology into it. And the roguelike seems like a very fun concept. I may be picking it up this weekend, and we'll have a thoughts on it next weekend. I need to check price on it, but if it's under $20, I'm probably getting it.
I think it is. I've heard nothing but good things. I like Supergiant's games, so yeah, I'm interested in hearing your feedback.
Yep. And with that little teaser, does us for this week's edition of the Media Boat Podcast.
Sure does. Thank you for joining us for another edition of the Media Boat Podcast. We'll be back next week for another episode. In the meantime, you can check out all our episodes as we recorded video on YouTube. If you go to YouTube and search Media Boat Podcast, like, subscribe our page, leave a comment, whatever you want to do. Just spread the word about the Media Boat Podcast. If you want to listen to it audio only, you can do that as well through podcatchers like Apple Podcasts. Search Media Boat Podcast in there, and you'll find us. Find us on social media. We're on Twitter as @MediaBoatCast, Facebook, search Media Boat Podcast. Twitch.tv/MediaBoat is where you can find us playing some games like PGA 2K21 and YouTube for our YouTube channel for other video games every once in a while. And then you can find some of our writing as well as this very podcast on MediaBoatPodcast.com.
Yep, I will have a writing of Tenet when I see it this upcoming weekend, probably one of Hades. And I want to do one of a rant, but I don't necessarily want to put it on the podcast site.
Whatever you want to do, wherever you want to put it. All right.
I'll put like an op-ed, death to theaters. We hardly knew you.
Yeah.
Or like, I missed you, dear John, come back, theaters kind of letter.
All right. Well, looking forward to that then.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week. For now, see ya.
Thank you for tuning in. Be back next week with more thoughts and news and stuff.
Goodbye.
All right. Bye.